It's time to pick a side. The border war is on the air with BG and Tan.
Should I go ahead and start talking now?
I would assume so, yes.
All right. Welcome into the Border War. This is episode 114. We're going to talk NBA playoffs today. Probably won't be the last time we'll talk NBA playoffs. There'll be several more months of them to come. I am BG. I'm here with TanMan. I am on Twitter at BG_Border War. TanMan is at TanMan32. I'll pause so you can write this down. 64 at twitter.com. Is that right?
.net.
.org.
//
Somebody told me the other day I called
TanMan.
Twitter a website, and they said that meant I was old. Because I thought Twitter was a website.
It's not?
I mean,
you can go to twitter.com.
It is a website, but that's not all it is. So there are multiple ways to listen to the show. I prefer Spotify, but you can choose the Spreaker app on your smartphone. You can listen to Apple Podcasts. You can listen to
Google Podcasts.
Where everything basically but
TuneIn Radio.
The TuneIn Radio app.
Yep.
Everything but iHeartRadio. We don't even say their name on the air.
No, I'm not giving iHeartRadio any plugs.
So the NBA playoffs, all the series have moved into the semifinals, second round, or is that the quarterfinals?
No, it's semifinals.
Semifinals.
I guess technically it would be quarterfinals, but they're the semifinals for the conference.
Every series is 1 game old, 2 games old. One set of the series is 2 games old. Everybody else has only played 1.
Yeah.
So as it turned out, everything kind of went according to plan. There was a little bit of an excitement here and there, but
the Spurs and the Nuggets made it interesting.
They did make it interesting.
They made the first round interesting.
In the end, the higher seed won out. Although we've talked about this on the show, man. Like, you wonder if we'll talk about this with Golden State, too. I mean, if the goal is really to win in 4 games so you can get some rest, I mean, those teams did not accomplish that.
What baffles me a little bit is, I get during the NBA season it's so long that sometimes you're not mentally there. Like, sometimes there's no question. You just don't have it that day, and that's fine. But the number of times that players have gotten behind the microphone after a ball game, whether it's Toronto losing to Orlando or whatever, where they get up there in the press conference after the game and go, we weren't mentally checked in, we just didn't have it, we didn't have the energy. Dude, I mean, it's the NBA playoffs. Not having the energy, not being mentally checked in, that's not an excuse. It's not good enough.
Did you see the interview with the 2 Clippers after the last game?
Oh, that was great. They were just like, look, man, we can't. We did everything we could do.
It wasn't quite as good. What was it? The Baylor guy from a few years back, and the guy asked him about the rebounds. Why didn't you rebound as much? They got the ball and grabbed it before we could. But I love those 2 guys. They're like, we tried. You go guard him.
What do you?
What to tell you?
Sometimes you just tip your cap, man.
Oh yeah. No, Durant, is a different kind of thing. So, all right. So, TanMan, looking back on the first round, the Thunder and the Spurs both go out unceremoniously.
Yeah.
The Thunder, obviously, they were the 3 seed?
Nah, they were 6.
That's right. Do you think they look worse coming out of this, losing the way they did, or do you think that San Antonio is the team that sort of has the worst taste in their mouth? This is an easy one for me, but I'll let you go first.
I think that the Thunder have the most explaining to do between the two. Not taking Damian Lillard's shot out of the equation. This is the 3rd straight year that Oklahoma City has been knocked out in the first round.
Yeah.
The last 2 with Paul George to go along with Russell Westbrook. So they've got to do some soul searching and figure out, okay, where are we going off course here? Because those 2 guys, that should be good enough to, at the very least, get out of the first round. with that said, losing on a 40-foot shot at the buzzer, man, that takes a set of cojones to take and make that shot. Hats off to your boy Damian Lillard for doing it. But if you want to talk about...
Let me just say this. It was a bad shot.
It's only a bad shot if it doesn't go in.
It shouldn't have gone in.
Well, but it's a bad shot. Listen, you say that it's a bad shot. He already made that shot once earlier in the game. That's the second time.
You're right. You're right, man. Maybe it's just that I can't comprehend what it takes to stand.
Dribbled out like 15 seconds and looked at Paul George in the face and said, I'm just going to go ahead and shoot this and send you home for the summer.
Yeah, and it's like I tweeted out right after it happened. I'm like, go back and watch the slow-mo replay. And don't watch Lillard. Watch his face. When the ball goes in, when I tell you his face didn't change. Mm-mm. He was just like, all right.
Yep.
Figured that was going to happen.
No, who looks worse? The San Antonio Spurs look worse to me. When you come out this thing, you're in Game 7. All right, they started off not making anything. I mean, there was like 4 minutes to go in the first quarter, and they had 4 points. They fight all the way back. They get it on the road under a minute. They're down 4. There's less than 24 seconds left.
Fewer.
Less than.
Fewer than
I said what I said, and I stand by it. Less than 24 seconds left. What are you going to do? They can dribble the clock out, and what do they let them do? They stand there.
Right.
LaMarcus Aldridge stands there and watches the clock just dribble away. It's over. And then Popovich is losing his mind on the sideline.
I remember I started to text you right when that happened and said, did I not understand something? Because I never have confidence in my basketball watching. I think, okay, maybe there's something I don't understand here.
No.
No. Because a lot of times when there's a little bit of time left and you'll hear the analysis, the TV guys will start talking, well, it's a 3-point differential, so you don't want to do this and win the foul. And I'm always a little bit lost as far as like, well, I wouldn't have thought that. I would have thought you would foul or whatever. At the end of that game, I was like, did they just let them win? Like, what happened?
I don't know. LaMarcus Aldridge he's the best. I think he's one of the most overrated players in basketball.
Was it a Chris Webber sort of a moment? Do you think he didn't realize what was happening, or?
Chris Webber got told when he dribbled into the corner. You can watch
You can hear it.
You can see people on the bench. Like he's got people on the bench
an assistant coach yelling, "Call timeout."
I don't know. I don't put all that blame on Webber, but LaMarcus Aldridge, he's a 10-year pro. You got to know, man. You got to have situational awareness. You got to know at that point in the game, your only hope is to extend it. You got a foul right there, and they basically stood there and watched their season dribble out. Unbelievable.
I'll say this. I'm going to say it was the Thunder that looked worse, and I get what you're saying, and you could. I think maybe we're playing semantics here, but what I feel like you're saying is the Spurs lost in the most painful way.
Yeah.
Whereas the Thunder lost because of an amazing shot. But again, it had to come down to that amazing shot. But I'm bringing in the whole narrative with it, right? Yeah, you made this become a narrative now. Like, this is 3 years in a row.
2 years with this group.
With and with PG-13 on the team. You just can't there because first time, second time, all right, you still have that chance to break it. But it's like the Three Little Pigs, man. Once something happens the third time, it's set in stone then. Which is why the third little pig didn't make that mistake, TanMan.
He didn't.
No. But the Thunder apparently are not as smart as the third little pig.
Well, I'm interested to see what the Thunder do this offseason. You're hearing Billy Donovan may be on the hot seat. I don't know if it's a Billy Donovan issue or not.
Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter whether it is. It still is.
Yeah.
It's a Billy Donovan issue whether he's the cause of it or not. Yeah. It's his problem.
Well, what you saw from a lot of them is anytime they would get down, they would start just chucking shots up between Westbrook and Paul George. If you could get ahead, it was like, all right, all bets are off. We're doing it our way now, and then they would just throw up some of the most ridiculous looking shots you've ever seen.
Well, I tell you can make a strong case that before Billy Donovan got there, Westbrook was still on the team, right? And he was still a good player. He had another guy that's pretty good.
Yeah, some other dude. He's all right.
They couldn't win anything then either. One starts to wonder what the common factor in all that is.
Well, I think that's being a little unfair. Like, I'm here all for the Russell Westbrook criticism. I'm here for that. But to say they couldn't win with Durant, look, man, they were up 3-1 on Golden State. I'm just saying, like, if they finish that series off, like, this whole discussion is different.
But
like,
they didn't.
They didn't. But to lay that at the feet of Westbrook, I think, is a little unfair.
Okay.
But anyway,
I agree. I agree.
The Milwaukee going over to the East, the Milwaukee Bucks, the top seed, basically manhandled in the second half Sunday afternoon against Boston. So, BG, I'm going to pose this question to you and let you start it off.
You going to go with Paul Pierce on this one? It's over, man. It's over.
Well, that's what I'm asking you. Are the Boston Celtics now in the driver's seat in the East?
Yes. They've been in the driver's seat since I said they would play the Houston Rockets in the finals, and that is not going to happen. But the Houston Rockets, breaking news, will not be in the NBA Finals. I'm pretty well convinced of that. But here's the thing. I'll talk about Boston in a second. All right, but here's the thing. Giannis Antetokounmpo that's it. Okay? There is nobody else. He is alone out there. He can't have a bad night. He can't even have just a good night.
Yeah.
And the Celtics have what it takes defensively to cause him issues. And that's really all you have to do. Now, why has nobody been able to do that all season? I don't know. Do I think the Celtics are going to win this game in 4? No. Do I think they're going to win another game by this many points? Probably not.
This is the first time that Milwaukee's been beaten by 20 points all year.
But of greater concern, if you're a Bucks fan, is Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward is starting to look like what we thought he would look like all year. Okay? And again, Kyrie is just playing lights out. He's hitting three-pointers that aren't moving the net, TanMan. It just makes that sort of like crack sound. And he's doing it effortlessly. When all of that stuff is rolling for Boston, this is not a 4 seed.
No.
This team is not a 4. They haven't played up to their potential, but they look like they are right now. Yeah, I think the Celtics are going to make it into the NBA Finals. And I'm going to say they probably do this in 6 games.
Okay, I don't know what happened in Boston this year. I don't know why they all of a sudden
seems to have gotten sorted out.
I don't know why they couldn't figure it out, over the course of 8 months. But it seems like over the course of the last, 3 weeks, whatever it is, whatever buttons Brad Stevens has pushed, they seem to be working. You just said it. A big part of it, the last series in the first round against Indiana was kind of Gordon Hayward's coming out party. He had kind of been building towards this, and then that closeout game last Sunday up in Indianapolis was kind of, like I said, his coming out party. This is the first time, I think I heard the first time all year that Milwaukee has been beaten by 20 points or more. When you contrast that with Golden State, that's probably happened to them 6 or 7 times over the course of the season. I'm not ready to write the Bucks off yet.
What about if they go down 2-0?
If they go down 2-0, then they're in trouble. But I'm not ready to write the Bucks off yet. Listen, they were the top seed. They were the best team in the East from start to finish all year long. And another team out there that I still think might be the best team whenever they're playing really well and Kawhi Leonard is doing his thing. I'm not still convinced that the Raptors aren't the best team in the East, that they're not going to come out. So Boston has turned the corner. I think they've figured some things out. They are finally becoming the team that we all thought they would be, but I'm not ready to put them in the driver's seat and hand them the keys yet. Just yet. Now, if Toronto falls to Philadelphia, then we might be having a different discussion, but I'm still going to roll with the Raptors for right now.
Well, I mean, I wonder if the Raptors sort of have that Virginia vibe going on like after last year's tournament. Oh, no. We're not doing that again.
The one thing that does concern me about Toronto, you watched the game last night. They get down to the last possession, and I literally did not know what they were. It's like they were out there and had no plan. Like, it was just dribble around the outside. They lost the ball at one point. They recovered it. It winds up in Kawhi Leonard's hands at the top of the key, and he shovels it off to the wing to Danny Green, and he misses, and they lose. In fact, I think they lost by 4. But, like, that last possession with a chance to tie the game at home, and they were just kind of – they were lost, for lack of a better term.
Right.
A little concerning. But, yeah.
Well, and you've given up home court advantage.
Yeah.
And they have. I mean,
and I guess
they have a pretty rabid fan base. Nobody in America pays much attention to it, but
they love the Raptors up there.
It's loud in there, man.
Yeah, I guess the only concern I have, or the biggest concern I have with Toronto is do you like Kyle Lowry enough as the number 2 guy on a championship team?
See, no, and then that's what I think about.
Milwaukee. Do you like Chris Middleton enough to be the 2 on a championship team?
I just don't think when Boston has the people that they have available to score right now that Toronto or anyone else in the East matches up well with them at all.
All right, let's go back out west one more time before we shut this thing down for the week. The series that everybody wanted to see, I think the TV networks are foaming at the mouth to get these guys on TV. The Rockets and the Warriors put on a show Sunday afternoon. It was unbelievable to watch. Referee calls aside, because that's been covered ad nauseum on the major networks. Rockets, Warriors up 1-0. BG, is this one already over?
No. I mean, I want to think it's not. But, you definitely feel like in Golden State, for the Rockets to come that close to winning and to not be able to pull it off.
I think it's over.
I think there's a chance that it was over before this game was played.
There's a chance the whole season was over with at the end of October when they tipped the ball up. But I'm saying just for this series.
I think that was one that they desperately needed. And I wonder where, because much like I said about the Bucks. Okay, now Chris Paul is not only. I'm not relegating him to a role player. And everybody knows that it looked like they had Golden State on the ropes last year when he got hurt.
Yeah.
When he tear his Achilles.
Something like that.
Yeah. Okay. But at least in the first game, he did not make the type of difference one would expect him to make. TanMan, he didn't even really match up favorably in game impact with Iguodala, who is Golden State's 5th best player?
Yeah.
I mean, he's still like money from the corner. All right, so again, then like I made the argument with Milwaukee, where's all the pressure for Houston?
Well, it's all falling on James Harden
right now. And he cannot single-handedly beat a team that might have four Hall of Famers on it. He just can't. And I don't know how much you want to talk about the jump shot at the end and the foul. And I think it's pretty obvious that Harden was not even trying to hit the shot.
I think
he didn't even hit the rim.
On that last one, that's on Harden. Now, you want to argue that the referees should have made the calls throughout the game?
Right.
Yeah, you're probably right. That last one where Harden kicked his legs out and bends at the waist, that's on him. I'm saying this series is over, man. I as a Pacers fan, I can remember back a few years ago when we had Paul George and LeBron and Miami were doing their thing.
Yeah.
And we lost to Miami in 7 games. We lost them in the semifinals one year. The next year we come back, we lose in 7 games. And we're like, oh, man, it was an unbelievable series. You're so close. Indiana spent the entire next season with nothing but blinders on. Nothing mattered. Everything was focused on getting home court advantage because that was their argument. Well, if that Game 7 was at home, we'd have won. They spent the whole season fighting to get home court advantage. They get it. They get Miami in the Eastern Conference Finals again. They win Game 1 at home, and then they lose the next 4. Not even competitive. Got blown out in Game 5. They spent all year singularly focused on beating Miami. I think Houston has done the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've spent all season going, give me the Warriors one more time. Give me the Warriors. And Sunday afternoon, they had a chance on the road, just like the Cavs did last year in the finals, had a chance to steal a game on the road, and they let it slip away. So now you're down to 6 games, and they've got to win 4 out of the next 6.
Yeah.
Are you going to beat Golden State 4 times in 6 games? They needed that Sunday, man. They needed to win that. So basically what you're telling me is they've got to beat Golden State 5 times. Not going to happen. This thing is over.
And 3 of those would have to be on the road, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
this thing is over, man.
So here's the thing.
The Rockets blew it.
I tweeted this out right after it happened, but when the Rockets brought the ball up the court there at the end, and Harden takes that jump, even the jump shot itself, again, I think his goal was to be fouled.
Oh, no doubt.
He didn't even hit the rim.
No doubt.
I mean, he just sort of threw the ball. But to be fair, the NBA has taught him to do that the past 4 seasons.
And I think that's what's frustrated everybody about that game in particular Sunday. You saw it some last night where they were making the call.
Right.
So, why are you making the call last night in the Toronto Sixers game, but you ignored it completely Sunday out in Golden State? And that's what's frustrated everybody, because that call was made over and over. Whether it's right or you think it's wrong, that's a different discussion. The fact is, they made that call all year long, and for whatever reason, they refused to do it Sunday. And it happened multiple times with multiple players on both sides.
Right.
So I anticipate a game 2 where that is a focus, and you see a lot of free throws in game 2. I think they're sending those guys to the line.
Which, again, is a bad look no matter what you do, because you invalidate what you did in game 1. It looks like you're placating people with your reps. To me, it looked like that moment, that whole series, after the rebound, when the shot came off, I can't even remember who ended up with the ball down at the bottom of the court. But
when they didn't get that call, they were done.
Yeah.
I mean, they were mentally.
You could watch that moment.
They were through.
You could watch that moment. It was just too big for them.
Yep.
And that was plan A, B, and C, was to get Harden to the free throw line. And you could tell when they didn't get it. Like, at first,
they didn't know what to do.
They got lucky to get the rebound. The rebound just happened to roll that way. They literally kind of stopped playing basketball for about 2 seconds. And the clock's running. And it just was obvious to me.
And then you've got Chris Paul over on the sideline. A guy who's been in the league, 13 years, whatever he's been in now. And he basically all but assaults a referee on the sideline and gets kicked out of the ball game. I mean, you said it. They lost their mind, man.
They lost their mind, and again,
they're not about that life, man.
And you just gave a really good reason why, because they have been focused on this hatred for a year.
Yep.
And meanwhile, you get the impression that Golden State is sort of like, oh, that's cute.
Well, they were just like, okay, you want it, come get some.
Yeah.
And no, I think the Rockets are done, man. Stick a fork in them.
And all the people screaming that it's a conspiracy, blah blah. I'm like, why would the NBA want Golden State to win another title?
I don't think they want them to win another title, but I think they want them in the finals.
Really?
I'll say that. I think they want them in the finals. All right.
I know you were saying Boston, the underdog.
Well, not even Boston. Just take Golden State, okay? They started out when they started this run as like the love. Oh man, Steph Curry, everybody loves Steph.
Yeah.
Now everybody hates him, man.
Yeah.
What was the knock on this year's Final Four? Why did everybody say
that there was no villain?
There's nobody. There's no Dukes or Carolinas, Kentuckys. You give the NBA an NBA Finals with the Denver Nuggets and the Milwaukee Bucks.
Ugh.
They're gonna hate that. Even I think the Rockets. The Rockets and anybody other than the Celtics, the NBA hates it. I think but you put Golden State in there with anybody from the East, and you'll do a number.
I don't think I don't think Golden State versus Toronto gets anything.
You don't think so?
No. I think people would assume the Warriors were going to roll them. It wouldn't be entertaining, because keep in mind, people don't know anything about the Rockets. They know Kawhi plays there.
Yeah. I don't know.
They don't know who Kyle Lowry is.
I think the Warriors and anybody would draw a number.
I'm not talking about basketball guy now. Not talking about basketball guy.
Oh, man. All right, that is it for episode 114. Again, however you listen to the show, BG went through the myriad of ways that you could find us at the beginning. Subscribe
slowly.
Subscribe to the show if you're able to. Leave us a review. Tell us how we're doing. You can email us at carolinaborderwar@gmail.com. Let us know your opinions as well. We'll read some of those on the air next week. We've gotten a few, so we'll get to them. Anything to add for the week before we shut it down, my friend?
I can't because I'm yawning.
Well,
I can't talk.
Well, at least you're not coughing. There's some dude that coughs on the air all the time.
Coffee McCofferson? Well, you can't. When your parents name you Coffee McCofferson, you're going to cough.
Yeah.